Hi, my name is Yui and this is my video diary. This is my first vlog and today I want to talk about my eating problem. So I've never formally been diagnosed with anything because I've never gone to a doctor about the problems. But I have the symptoms of binge eating disorder, or at least binge eating tendencies. And I've been fighting this for more than 10 years. And I'll tell you that it really takes over your life. And if any of you can relate, you know that every single minute of every single day is focused on food. You're either thinking about what you had eaten, calculate calories, a craving, or thinking about foods you want to eat or foods you're going to eat later, or what you can't eat and you are not allowed to eat later. And it just occupies your thoughts 24/7, and it dictates many, if not most, of your actions and decisions in life. And that might sound ridiculous to people that have never experienced this. Whether I go out or not, that depends on how I feel about my body, how I feel about food, if the event is related to consuming food, and you know, I can go on and go more into detail about my own history of how my eating related problems developed, and my history of, you know, body image problem and just hating myself and my body. But I'll delve into that later on, possibly. But basically what happened today was that I was supposed to go out to eat dinner with my family for my mom's birthday. And her birthday was like 1 or 2 weeks ago, and we were supposed to make it up this week, and it was my idea. I said, why don't we go get dinner this Friday? I came home from classes and wasn't that hungry, but I proceeded to eat 5 buns of bread with butter. And you know, I wasn't hungry to begin with, and I was definitely full after the first one, but might as well just have the rest. Might as well eat it now, and then you won't have to worry about eating it later on, or having to, you know, fight the urge of eating it later. Just eat it now. See, by that point, I was really bloated, and then I couldn't fathom eating another meal after that. Mom works close to where I live, so she was gonna come pick me up so we could all go, and I basically just bailed, and I said, why don't we do the dinner next week? No, I didn't tell her why. I just said that it was probably more convenient that way because I would be home that weekend, and also that I needed to study for my final exam. And you know, my whole family was expecting to see me today, as well as my little sister, but I bailed on them for no good reason. And this sort of things happens all the time where I bail on my family or friends because I ate too much and I can't go out to an event with them anymore because I already ate too much by myself. And I felt so bad, yet I couldn't tell her why. Because she would just say it's not a big deal or that I was being silly. You know, if you tell people these things, they'll think that you're placing something so trivial like food over spending time with them or seeing them. And I mean, I guess in the grand scheme of things, that really is what you're doing. But so I just felt like it was better to just make up some other excuse other than I ate too much. Because I knew the dinner was happening, so why couldn't I just stop myself from eating and waiting until we went to get dinner together? And that's the really sinister part of binge eating, is that you give in to all these urges to eat, and in the end, when you sit back and look at your actions, you're like, you gave up so much. You gave up so much of your life just for some food. And that makes you feel even more disgusting and gross. Because it's like, how gluttonous can you be to give up spending time with your loved ones, to give up going out and stepping out of the house, to give up, you know, RSVPing to RSVPing, RSPing, SVPing to events, to give up, you know, wearing certain things that you want and acting a certain way, hanging out with certain people. You're giving up all of that just for some food, and when you break it down like that, it just sounds ridiculous even to you. And I think that's one of the hardest parts of having this binge eating problem, because it's really hard to talk about. Like, I'm really open and I'm okay with talking about it to people or like telling my friends about it, but it sounds so ridiculous when you talk about it, because it's like people will think, well, why can't you just stop? You know, you clearly have no willpower or discipline. And sometimes I feel that way too. But it's like, it's more than having willpower. It feels like an addiction. But then even when you think of it that way, it's like, well, yeah, people with addiction, like smoking, like they have to use their willpower to quit. Yet, why can't I? And we have a big social tomorrow that I'm going to, and everyone is going to be dressed to the nines. A lot of people are wearing floor-length gowns, and I'm just not into it at all, because I feel like I can't wear anything. I don't really want to show any part of my body, and it's really hard to find a dress that caters to all of those conditions. It's gonna be hard as fuck because I'm gonna be wearing a huge ass fur coat. I'm wearing a fur coat so I can dress it up somehow, because I'm not wearing a formal dress like everyone else. Hopefully people will see that as a fashion statement rather than me being a weirdo. But honestly, in that sense, I don't really care about what anyone thinks. It's more so in my own head, like I'm not able to express myself or wear what I really want to wear, because I'd rather not look fat than wear what I want to wear. My binge eating has largely been unaccompanied by purging, and I have to say that that's not by choice necessarily. I've tried to purge and I simply can't. I don't know how to induce vomiting. And I haven't tried in a really, really, really long time. But today I just felt like shit. So I tried with my fingers. I tried using a toothbrush. Tried probably 10 times at least. And I got the gag reflex, but nothing would come out. So I took 3 laxatives. And I know that taking laxatives don't really get rid of any food in your stomach because you're going to be emptying the contents of your colon and losing some waterway, and in that sense my stomach will feel flatter, and at least I'll feel a little bit better that way, even if I'm not losing true fat or weight. So that's what I did, and I don't do that often. I know the harms of purging using laxatives or inducing vomiting. I don't know how to induce vomiting, and laxatives, I rarely take them. It's only when I feel really, really desperate. So that's my update of what happened today. I just feel really lost because I've been dealing with this for so long, and just I don't see it into it, and I don't know what to do. I've watched videos and I've read part of the book that everyone has recommended called Brain Over Binge by Catherine, I forgot what her last name was, Hansen. And you know, it didn't really work for me because I don't think I really tried to utilize the tools that it told you to. So I'm gonna try to do that or follow the advice in that book tomorrow. But even saying that now, like, I have no hope, honestly. But then at the same time, I'm not ready to give up at all, mainly because I can't live with myself being fat or not having the body I want. So I know everyone preaches self-love, but I just can't accept myself this way. Like, if I have rolls, if I have excess fat, like, I can't accept myself. I'm sorry. And I don't want to accept myself like this because I know I can look better. So I'm not gonna accept this body. And I know that may be a toxic mindset, but fat is just disgusting to me, and most disgusting of all is when I see it on myself. And as long as I think I look fat, it prevents me from doing everything. And it's honestly, it's hard to exist. And this is such a first world problem. And that's why I always feel guilty when I get into this topic, because when I hear myself talking, it's like, okay, your biggest problem is that you have too much food to eat. Like, come on, who do you think you are? That's the biggest load of bullshit problem ever, that you have too much food to eat. And that, you know, I'm not considered obese or overweight, and yet, oh, it's hard to exist, it's hard to leave the house. Okay, like, calm down, Yui. But honestly, it is. Like, it prevents me from doing everything. I used to work out every day, and just the fact of being fat makes me not want to go to the gym because I don't want to be seen by other people, or I feel too bloated to go to the gym because I ate too much. And I know my binge eating is not as bad as some people's. I've watched videos where people eat upwards of 10,000 calories in a day, and I don't do that. I probably only eat 2,000 to 3,000 calories worth. But and when I think about it that way, I feel grateful that my binges are not that bad, because I can't imagine going through that. It must physically hurt. And I used to have much larger binges where it would be physically just absolutely uncomfortable. And I don't do that anymore. I have a little bit more control on my binges, simply because when I get to that uncomfortable stage, I usually stop, whereas before I used to just keep going after that. After I hit that uncomfortable threshold. But I think it's more the mindset behind the eating that makes it a disorder. And what I mean by that is, it's not necessarily how much food you eat in one sitting that makes it binge eating. It's more the guilt associated with food, the constant thinking about food every single waking minute, that feeling of loss of control and impulsiveness when it comes to food. Like when I see a food that I want to eat, it feels like I don't see anyone else around me. I just see that food and I have to beeline to that food and I have to have it. Or like when I have a taste of one thing, I can't stop until I eat all of it. It's all of those behaviors that I think are associated with binge eating. And I don't know what the exact diagnostic criteria are, but I know for a fact, just being myself, that this doesn't feel normal. It takes over my life. It affects daily functioning, and affecting daily functioning is one of the biggest markers that there's something wrong. So I'm tired of trying to justify it in this video, but basically I just don't feel okay with myself, and I just want this to be over. I don't only want to have a good relationship with food. I have to say that my primary goal is still to look a certain way. And I know that that probably greatly perpetuates the eating disorder, but I don't know how to let go of that. I don't know how to let go of that idealistic body image, because I honestly just can't handle looking the way I do. I hate it, and I refuse to let anyone else to see me. God, it's winter right now because I wear long coats every day, never take it off. But I just feel stuck in my own body and I feel weak. I feel like I can't change anything. And I don't know when it's gonna change, because I know I've said too many times that it's gonna be today, or the next day, or the next day, or this time will be the time, and it just never is, and I don't know what to do anymore. So I'm just gonna put out this video. I'm gonna try to apply the principles from Bring Over Binge tomorrow, and I will update probably with another vlog in a few days. Bye.